Welcome to the Group Dentistry Now show, the voice of the DSO industry. Join us as we talk with industry leaders about their challenges, successes, and the future of group dentistry. With over 200 episodes and listeners in over 100 countries, we're proud to be ranked the #1 DSO podcast. For the latest DSO news, analysis, and events, and to subscribe to our DSO weekly e-newsletter, visit groupdentistrynow.com. We hope you enjoyed today's show.
Welcome, everyone, to the Group Dentistry Now show. I'm Bill Newman, and appreciate everybody watching us today. We're going to talk about something I think that's really important in the industry, and it's partnerships, but we're going to focus specifically on lab partnerships with this podcast. I was recently at the Dykema DSO meeting, and there was a lot of talk about vendor relationships with different DSOs, and you kind of hear a lot. Some are really strong, and some tend to be very transactional. And we're going to focus on, that value of that partnership. And we've got three guests on here. We have Arlen Hurt, who is the Chief Clinical Officer of Specialty Appliances. Arlen, this is your second time on the show, so welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be here again. I really enjoy it.
And two first-timers here. We have Tim Jackson, Chief Operating Officer at Specialty Appliances. I've spent a bunch of time with Tim. Spent some time in Chicago midwinter chatting, and it's great to have him on. Good to see you, Tim.
Thank you, Bill. Looking forward to it. Excited about this opportunity.
Yeah, and we have Dr. Bob Waugh. He is the Clinical Director, Fixed Appliances for Smile Doctors. First time on the show. Dr. Waugh, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for your interest, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
So why don't we start with you, Dr. Waugh, a little bit about your background and then a little bit about your role at Smile Doctors.
Sure. I can give you the brief rundown. I've been practicing orthodontics in Athens, Georgia for 37 years. That dates me a little bit, but I think of orthodontics as just a passion. It's something I've always enjoyed, and I look forward to coming to work every day. I joined Smile Doctors in 2018. And so Smile Doctors has an early beginning as around 2015. So I was the 81st office that joined. And now with over 560 offices, it's grown, and it's been fantastic. I became their clinical director for braces. And so that's really what I do, is oversee a lot of the implementation of processes, appliances, in this case, products that enter our catalog. And it's just a joy to put the best products in front of our doctors and teams so that we take good care of patients.
Thank you, Dr. Waugh. We're going to dig into a little bit more about what that role is like and what the relationship is like with Specialty Appliances. Arlen, a little bit about your background. You have 41 years at Specialty Appliances, and you've been a CDT now for 30 years. You're an inventor. You've got all sorts of things going on. A little bit more about your background and maybe a little bit about Specialty Appliances.
Sure. Yeah. Number one, I agree with Dr. Waugh that, orthodontics, I just love this industry. I've done it a long time, and it's really a big part of me and what I see in the future. And I think that with Specialty Appliances, we've always tried to be innovative and create, the best products and services we possibly can. And over the years, that's really kind of helped us, shape who we are as a company and our character. And, just with the quality orientation, but it's been a fantastic journey. It's something I still look forward to every day.
Thanks, Arlen. Tim Jackson, COO at Specialty Appliances. You've been in the industry for 20 plus years. You've got tenure at Discus. You have tenure at Philips, and you've been really involved lately at Specialty Appliances. I think it's 6 acquisitions that you've had in recent years. So I'd love to learn more about those acquisitions and about your role at Specialty Appliances.
Yeah, Bill, it's been great. So after having 20 plus years with Discus Dental and Phillips, I came over to specialty in early 2021, really with a focus of kind of converting the business from that founder-led lab into a scalable organization. And my passion is developing leadership and really creating a continuous improvement environment with a focus on leveraging technology. And that's what we've done. And that's allowed us to, double our business organically while still maintaining less people than we had in 2021. But the real growth is also coming from these acquisitions. And we made a choice recently in the last couple of years to not only add on to the labs that we were acquiring for orthodontics, but also to add on to dental. So now we've acquired 3 dental labs to go along with our ortho labs, which really is just set us up well to be a full service dental and orthodontic provider, uniquely kind of positioned to serve DSOs with that end-to-end solution. And it's been great to watch the growth of the company, but also to watch the growth of the people and see how well the business can do with that really a focused effort on continuous improvement and really develop leadership across it.
And I was, Kim and I were at the AAO meeting in Philadelphia this year, and you had a big crowd around the specialty booth. So a testament to what orthodontists think of specialty and just the crowd that you drew when Kim and I were trying to have a conversation, but those doggone orthodontists wanted to talk to you. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get into the Q&A part here. And again, we talked about really want to focus on lab partnerships. Dr. Waugh, I'll really start with you with this first question here. And we do see this especially with DSOs, where there are some in-house labs with certain DSOs. So why does Smile Doctors really choose to partner with preferred labs rather than to do this in-house?
Yeah, I think you just look around you, the quality and the representation you have from specialty appliances says it all. I'm actually geographically pretty close to them, and I've always enjoyed working with a lab. Now, doesn't mean that a doctor couldn't come to Smile Doctors, have their own in-house lab, and we try to support that. But it's just a lot better practice for our group to move through all of the growing pains and things that you have in the OSO environment with a scalable lab that's a quality-oriented lab, because we have this culture at Smile Doctors where we put the patients first, and we try to, of course, support our doctors and teams to do that the best way they can. And I don't know how we could be experts in lab work and be able to pull that off centrally. It's just too much. It's a distraction, really. It takes us away from our primary focus, which is to care for the patients and to try to deliver the best patient experience that we can. And I would say there's some challenges too. I don't know if you want me to continue.
Yeah, I think that's great. That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, no, challenges for us, I guess, internally. You just want consistency and quality, and it needs to be clean. It needs to be delivered in a timely way. And there's the schedule to think of, where it ebbs and flows throughout the season. So what are we going to do as a big organization other than rely on preferred labs? I don't know. I think the margins, the profitability, all of that aside, I just would rather work with a lab I could depend on and I can consistently count on. The trust that we have, the relationship we have is really meets all the challenges that we tend to have in our organization.
Dr. Waugh, when you and Smile Doctors go through the process of selecting a preferred lab partner, what does that look like? What are those key factors in making that decision, who you partner with, like specialty appliances?
Yeah, well, specialty appliances has been a long time friend and a long time reliable lab that does quality work for us. And I'm sure we started out our whole relationship as an OSO with specialty appliances, because they've been there for us. They're a trusted partner. When we start bringing on more doctors, they come in with different experiences and different relationships, and we try to honor those. And of course, we're looking at scale. We're looking at what lab under the circumstances could deliver for us in a timely way. So delivery of a timely product of good quality and reliability, having availability to answer those questions for our doctors on specific patients that are in queue. I think that's huge. I think having a relationship with a lab is that answers the phone, that picks up and takes care of the people that you're trying to serve, is a real big part of the process. So when I start thinking about choosing a lab, we need a variety of labs just to serve all our needs. Lab work is really specific to patient care. And so you can start with templates of lab appliances, but when it comes right down to it, every patient's different, and you need to be able to answer the response, I think, to add this bell or whistle to this or that case to make it go well for every doctor. So just a lab that's flexible enough to care for the patient on a one-by-one basis is really key.
Well, Tim and Arlen, you heard what Dr. Waugh said about, the value of a lab partner. Tell me a little about how it feels from your perspective and what value you provide to DSOs, OSOs like Smile Doctors and other partners. Tim, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. So I think, first of all, Dr. Waugh said it perfect. You don't have to overcomplicate things. You have to build a quality product that's going to be there on time when they've asked for it, and you have to pick up the phone on the other end. And for us, we needed to maintain that while we scaled up to be able to service those type of organizations like Smile Doctors. So that's where we use technology, knowledge within the industry, but also we need to do the steps in the background that nobody sees, which is becoming FDA GMP certified, having our ISO certified, having our licenses through the FDA, MDSAP, and doing all the testing in the background that really is there to ensure patient safety. So doing cytotoxicity testing and all of those steps along the way to ensure that not only are we providing it, but what we're providing is safe all the way through. And then using that technology that we're doing also to gain some advantages that will help the doctor with patient visits to use less chair time and make ourselves a valued asset to the DSO.
And Arlen, I'd love to get a little bit of your feedback and why you think, relationships like the one you have, partnerships with Smile Doctors, are so successful.
Really, it's that we were able to grow to be scalable. That's a key factor when you look at an organization like Smile Doctors. Obviously has grown tremendously over the past 7 years since Dr. Waugh joined. And if you look at the, I think it's key that we communicate with each other, and we want to make sure that we have, what do they need to help, data wise to help them, and then how can we, do that besides just the lab work. We want to do everything on the lab side, though. Like, we're going to invest in whatever we need technology-wise to make sure we can fulfill their needs and get those appliances back to them in a very timely manner.
So I touched on this earlier with when I made the introduction, but this is a partnership, and we hear that the word gets thrown around a lot. And there are, especially, I think, with some of the larger groups out there, and like I mentioned, I was at the DICMA meeting, and there was a lot of talk specifically about one group and how transactional their relationship was with a lot of the vendors. Several vendors were talking about it. And Dr. Waugh, you really you talked a lot about how long-term relationship you've had with specialty appliances, but it's not a transactional one. It's a true partnership, and there's a real clinical focus. Can you talk about that clinical relationship that you have?
Sure. We go way back, of course, but the relationship just starts with trust and accountability. and people owning, the responsibility of the lab work they provide. I've always had that relationship with specialty. So you mentioned, it's a partnership. I consider them a true partner. A true partner doesn't just give you the best price. Okay, they're there through the thick and the thin. I'll give you an example. We recently acquired a group of orthodontists, and we rallied to get this done in record time. But the addition of 80 offices is no small undertaking, and so this particular group came in under our wing. We wanted to show them our culture. We wanted to introduce them to our partners, and a group like specialty is always there. There's somebody who you count on. I'm sure in the course of business, things are going to ramp up significantly because of that acquisition. So I know that on their end, they're willing to meet that demand. Meeting the demands of the day in, day out is really what you count on. You have a partner. They're listening, and they're willing to flex, and they're willing to build the system to fit what you need. So meeting demands is kind of the key for us.
I think Arlen touched on that the organization, Specialty Appliances, is scaling as you scale up, and you mentioned that being really important to your success. Let's talk about, and Arlen, we can start with you, the clinical support that you provide to DSOs, as we're really focused on that.
Yeah, I think one thing unique to Specialty Appliances, we do share a lot of knowledge with our technicians. They go through formalized training, and we're always trying to help them grow, which helps everybody in the organization, helps our customers. And then we also have a tech rep team, and they've went through a lot of training. Most of these people have been office assistants and then taught in the lab world. So they have a lot of knowledge about the office, how it operates. And then, when we design products and things, we're always trying to think about how can we help the patient experience, the doctor and the staff, to treat the patients, more efficiently. And that's why we try to get our products and services even to focus on that.
Tim, did you want to add anything?
I would say one of the things that I've enjoyed, and this is mostly being around Arlen and having the pleasure of going to so many of these DSO meetings and with Dr. Waugh, is we're partnered with them also just for the training that they're going to do with their clinicians. So an example would be last year, Dr. Waugh was doing a training for teaching about how to place the brackets and to optimize, as obviously they're a clinical leader. And we had the opportunity to partner with them and print all the models and come there and be with them and help set it up. And I thought that was a great partnership where specialty can be there contributing to help and provide the data and support for them to train everybody so they keep that consistent treatment that Dr. Waugh talked about at the beginning, and we can be there to partner and help support that.
So Dr. Waugh, how do you and the team at Smile Doctors, how do you go about evaluating new products? Maybe you can use Specialty Appliances as an example, but do the products, the solutions normally come to you first, and then you have a clinical board, or what does that process look like?
Yeah, that's great. And a good question, because every organization runs things differently. But I'm on a regular weekly call with our procurement team for products. So I'm listening with my ear to the ground to see what is it that our doctors are asking for. What is it, the next thing that's coming that we need to prepare for, either to add to the catalog or as a lab appliance. And I guess I could just walk you through it with an example. For instance, in the lab world, last year we started up our 3D laser printed metal appliances. And so you would think, that's been around for a little while, but we will not be the first one to jump on board with something that's a big implementation process. So it just takes a little bit of time. But just to look at that, we were having doctors join our group who were asking, can I continue to make these printed metal appliances? And yet they weren't on our catalog at that time. And so we used the EasyRx lab platform, it has a list of all the preferred templates that we have, and we hadn't entered into that arena. But the more I heard about it, I knew well over a couple of years ago that this was coming. So So it comes to me first. I do. I check in with the leadership to make sure this is something that we want to pursue. And then I get some direction. But in that case, just taking that example, I would rely on a lab like Specialty Appliances to tell us all the people that are using those appliances in our organization. And we would reach out and understand the whole clinical implementation process for that, what the techniques were. We would, we have so many members that are already using these type things, so we can rely on our internal doctors for this. It's very rare that we'd have a trial, but we wanted to actually go to school on who was doing what already. Then we're able to pull off of what are the key or best practices that we have. And then with Specialty's help, actually, so they helped us design a product test, more or less an implementation for doctors who had no experience delivering these appliances, so we could learn from this small group. So I think we did appliances for a month or so in the summer last year, and we got, I think, 5 or 6 doctors to be involved. And we went through and allowed them to test in their own hands how it went and get the reaction of their team. So I also run a group called Fixed Champions. This is the key opinion leaders for smile doctors on the clinical basis for fixed appliances, for braces and related appliances. And so I would always use them as a sounding board. They get a chance to handle the appliances and see firsthand how things are made. They help me give opinions, receive opinions, I guess, on all the appliances and things like that we want to review. And then we develop a written protocol for rolling it out to the group. Now, we'll use our administrative team to help with that, but we'll plan either a bulletin or a communication or an online doctor CE event to roll things out like we did for this particular product, and then it launches. And so it could be 6 months from start to finish before something could be launched. But you're going to do it right, and you're going to have fewer remakes, and you're going to have more satisfied doctors and patients and teams.
Once you go through that process, what does that buy-in look like? I mean, do you typically see like a slow uptake from the docs, or is it pretty quick? And it's always a question you have. You get some is a lab or a vendor. You become part of the formulary, right, in quotes, and a preferred partner, and sometimes things don't always work out the way you expect them to.
Yeah, you nailed it. You're trying to avoid a disruption in their clinics, and so you want it to be as neat and clean a transition as possible, and every step is thought through and tested on a variety of doctors' offices before we launch anything like that. It does require that we have, we're not trying the latest material and rolling it out the week it comes out. We look at a lot of different new materials that hit the market, and a lot of products are presented, and they have to kind of get through the gate for review. And then once they're reviewed by a team of 12 doctors, that are going to put their hands on it and test it and try it, like I mentioned. So just know, I think everything's given a fair shake. When people reach out to me, I do my very best to respond to them and let them know if there's an opportunity or not. And then if there's something that really looks like it by demand, by our doctors reaching out to me specifically, or our procurement team, they want to see this added to the catalog, we'll consider it. And we have a general catalog for all doctors, and then there are individual doctors that have specific things that they need and want and work best in their hands. And so we consider each of those requests.
So you have this formal process, and I think it's really important. And we've got a lot of what I would call emerging groups that listen to this podcast. So they, really a group of, whether it's orthodontists or whether it's, general practitioners that may have 3, 4, 20 locations. So they might not necessarily have that formal process built out yet. So maybe share with us in just the importance, like why do you need something like this, especially as you get to scale?
Yeah, I think just looking at it from our history, we start with a half dozen doctors and grow to this size. There's got to be a formal process. There's got to be someone who's approachable. to come to say, hey, can you consider adding this to the catalog? And so we are always interested in our best price, but we also want to not allow things on the catalog that are poor quality or something that would fail in every doctor's hand. And so there's got to be a formal process by which things are decided on. And for my recommendation for any small group like you're mentioning would be to control the quality from the beginning, and then never let your catalog open to any lab or a product that's going to not serve people well. So if you can stand on that on a day-to-day basis, you're going to move forward as a group, just like Smile Doctors has, and have the trust of the members of the group.
And Tim and Arlen, from a lab perspective, what does that product approval process look like? Tim, maybe we can kick things off with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's both an internal and external. So we work very closely with the procurement department at Smile Doctors, and when there's new products that need to be brought forward or ideas that we have, we bring those to them and we share what benefits we think that this will bring, whether it's a new treatment program, if it's new parts, whatever, or maybe it's a new process. But we will bring that forward to them, but we won't have done that until we've done the work ourselves. So when we develop many new parts and products and treatments inside the building, and if there's new research and development that we do, which we do all the time, it goes through a phase gate process. So we take it all the way through doing a very structured design, testing through KOLs, taking it through the process, creating design history files, and really validating that what we're going to bring to them will bring value, and that it's not just another Me Too, but there's something along with it that's going to deliver value to the office or to the patient. And that process takes time. And it's very important, because this is where we're going to do all that testing that I talked about earlier, where you're going to spend things like $1,500 just to do cytotoxicity testing. And those are investments we want to take so that we can be confident in what we're delivering. But when we get that handed over to them and the procurement department works with Dr. Waugh or the clinical advisory boards of other DSOs, we can be confident and give them the data they need to know why they should try this and what it's going to do for the office and for the overall organization to help either improve their techniques, improve the quality, improve the treatment, or profitability.
Arlen, anything from you on this?
I just want to add that, we would be happy as well. We've done this in the past, but, we can help with training materials or, creating bonding instructions, for example, if you're going to be placing it in the mouth, or do videos with Dr. Waugh, for example, or somebody to just show how the technique is done. But that's what we want to do. We want to be like a partner in the whole process. It's really important to that. So we make sure that that's how we support each other, truthfully.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you provide at Specialty Appliances, I mean, you're really helping people like Dr. Waugh and the team at Smile Doctors vet a lot of these products already. You may have already had experience with some of these, with some of your other customers. Maybe you haven't, but it's, so you're actually, I mean, we get back to that partnership word. And I mean, it's really, as I'm not sure all the labs out there or other partners do things like that, where you're actually helping, a customer vet products, which can take a lot of time. And to Dr. Waugh's point, you're not going to be the first to jump in if it's something new. You want to make sure that it's tested, and Specialty may be have done that testing already. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's move on to another point, which I think is really interesting, because we get to this, it's about, and cost is important for sure. But when we look at, the cost, it's not just the actual price of an appliance, but there are other things that are involved, whether it's, things like it might be easier for younger clinicians to use. It may be faster. It may be better for the patient. It may be more reliable. There's all sorts of other things that go into it. So let's talk a little bit about that. Maybe from your perspective, Dr. Waugh, how do you look at cost of something, an appliance?
Well, every doctor's got their experience with the things that work best for them in their hands, and they know the course of treatment. If they've been at it a while, they know what's working well, what's not working well in their hands. I think when you look at efficiency, we're focused on visits, number of visits. We're looking at the rotation. The remote care is certainly a strong concept for what we're using as appliances. And so for me, I think the cost is a very important factor. We want to make sure we're not getting overcharged, but we just want a fair cost, something that we can rely on, something that's not going to be volatile or change on a regular basis, that we can sort of say, well, we know if we start in with this lab, we're going to continue with this lab. We're going to see the results from this lab, and then we're going to be able to hang our hat on that appliance from this lab from now on. And that consistency comes from just having people like Arlen and Tim, and Arlen and I know way back. So I just feel like the cost is for our profitability an important part of it, but I would put quality ahead of price.
Arlen, what do you think about that? I mean, I know there's a lot of considerations that specialty appliances takes, and you're also providing, I think one thing that you touched on, Arlen, was really the education and the training behind, especially if you're making some, a change, right? In an organization like Smile Doctors, where it's not just one clinician, you've got hundreds of them. So then that education becomes paramount.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something that when you're willing to step out and do that and help with that and make sure that everybody understands the process, it's just a win-win for everybody involved. And, Tim iterated on the quality and the concept of that, but this company has been based on quality since day one. I've always been focused on it. And Tim, he's done an amazing job just continuing on how we, look at, we've had 4 or 5 FDA inspection with 0 sightings, which says something in itself, ISO certified and, those sightings. So that's really show you like we're just dedicated to it. Something you don't get with some of the other labs, especially a small lab, but it's something we're dedicated to, and then helping the doctors, again, in that partnership type role, like what do we need to do to help you be successful? And that's where we want to be.
Anything you want to add to that, Tim?
Yeah, I think the one thing about cost is it's deceptive. So if somebody is charging so little that it seems that there should be a red flag, there probably should be, because that means they're probably not taking all those steps, right? So the cost should be fair, but it's also about the value delivered. And I think one of the things that we've focused on is that quality aspect. Remakes, for every time you reduce remakes, you're reducing the number of visits per case, which is increasing the profitability. It's also about how well they fit, because you're not having those adjustments. So chair time, number of visits, all of that creates the total really treatment cost, which is a lot different than just looking at the price of a device. And so I think for us, that's why we focused on it. So we've taken our remake rate down by over 80% in 4-year period. So through technology, using AI, and really focusing, and that is something that we think creates more value than potentially lowering that price on that device again and again and again. And that, one of the things we respect with Smile Doctors that maybe some of the other DSOs aren't doing, which is it's not about can we get to that lowest price, which is what Dr. Waugh has said. It's about can we get to the best price that delivers the overall value to the entire organization and to every clinician. And that's really where we focus. We are focusing on delivering value. So we might not go down to the very rock bottom, but if you have 20% less remakes than you would have with somebody else, and you don't have to adjust it at chair side, then the profitability of the business is significantly higher than you would have ever achieved by just getting a lower price point on your device.
As we wrap up this podcast, you've Smile Doctors and Specialty Appliances. You've had a lot of growth. You're really both powerhouses, both on the OSO side of things and on the lab side of things. Talk a little bit about future of your organizations and then also the future of the partnership. Dr. Waugh, we can kick it off with you.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. Specialty is a powerhouse. They have always been, and they are leaders in their field. And I respect that so much. I remember visiting the lab the first time I went, and I could just see as far as I could see the stations, the lab stations, the printers, the people. It was impressive, and so you just got to know that they're a juggernaut of a lab, and they are consistently good, and that is such a bright future for us, because Smile Doctors is going to grow. We're going to continue to grow, and we're going to bring the best doctors, continue to bring the best doctors to our group, and the quality of the results. If you come into the practices and you see day in, day out dedication we have to patients and the care that we provide in our organization, then you're aware, you're going to grow. So we just have to meet the demand. And so pairing up, partnering with Specialty Appliances, especially been a great relationship. And I'm going to go so far as to say that really, true partners stick together through thick and thin, through COVID, through all the onslaught of the summers together, the turnaround times, the calls, the difficult situations sometimes we get in with patients and their needs. And you won't find a more reliable lab than Specialty. They've been a great partner, and together I think they help build our culture.
Oh, that's great. When you talk about the culture side of things. So Dr. Waugh, if there are any orthodontists that have practices and may be looking to partner, what's the best way for them to find out about Smile Doctors?
Well, they certainly can reach out to me. I've passed along lots of names through the years and so forth, but we have a whole business development group that will respond, and they can just reach out to me at robert.waugh at smiledoctors.com. We can get the information to you, and then I can certainly direct you to our whole business development group.
Excellent. And the website, the URL's easy, smiledoctors.com. Easy enough. Arlen and Tim, talk a little bit about the future for your organization, and from your perspective, the future of the partnership with Smile Doctors.
Yeah, well, I think with the organization in general, I think that one thing we're going to continue to do is always be looking at what's next in the industry. We try to be on the leading edge. We're looking at things every day because our materials are changing. They're going to get better. The 3D printers changing. We have 3D wire bending machines, but then having that capability to always looking at how can we do things better really with our partners. That's all we say when we look at products or services. How's it going to help our customers, the doctors, the staff, and ultimately the patient? And as long as we just keep focused on that, we're going to keep growing, and growing not only internally with technology and other things like that, but growing, as far as size of the company. And we'll just, keep our focus, and that's what's going to really kind of push us into the future.
And Arlen, what's the best way if people want to get in touch with you?
It's arlen.hurt. It's ARLEN, have a different name, at specialtyappliances.com.
Excellent. We'll put that email address, just like Dr. Waugh's, in the show notes. And Tim, final words from you, and also we want to make sure people want to get in touch with you or find out more about Specialty. You shout out the website and also your email address.
Yeah, I know. Great. Thanks, Bill. So I think for Specialty, looking forward, especially with the partnership with Smile Doctors, I think it starts with the procurement group that we work with. They're definitely different than what I've experienced. Again, doing this for a long time, and it's a true partnership, looking how we can help provide data that helps strengthen the businesses so that they can help know where to make decisions and how to advance forward. And also how we can get those new products into Smile Doctors. And then also partnering up when they do bring in these new groups like they just recently did, on how we can step in a hurry and help make the onboarding of all those doctors simpler. And we will continue to work towards that, providing the data, interlocking systems to allow the businesses to grow with each other. And that's really a key aspect. And then to contact us or contact me, tim.jackson at specialtyappliances.com. But one of the best things people can do is just also go to the website at specialtyappliances.com and explore the website, check it out, look at all the different things we have to offer. We have a lot of educational tools on there to help educate people about some of the advances that we're doing and all the different types of products that we can provide and services that we can provide for them. And then reach out and just click the button, and somebody from our customer service or tech rep teams will reach out.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I was on your website and just looking, you've got your Smile Sync. So you can enter cases. There's all sorts of cool things that you can do. So yeah, make sure you go to specialtyappliances.com and smiledocs.com to find out more. Well, thanks, guys. Great conversation, Dr. Waugh, Arlen, and Tim. I really appreciate your time, and thank you, everybody, for watching or listening to this podcast today. Until next time, this is the Group Dentistry Now Show.
Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to stay up to date on the latest DSO news, insights, and events. Also, subscribe to our DSO weekly e-newsletter at groupdentistrynow.com.